girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their
All right, welcome back. Good morning. Happy Monday, happy Monday. Morning, everyone. How we doing? Is the voice to mouth better today? Does it seem like there's no delay? Let me know. Watch my mouth as I talk and see if the delay is better. Shout out Brad if it is. If it's better, shout out Brad. If it's not, I gotta relook at how to fix it. I had to put a audio delay. It's better? Seems good? All right, sweet. Hey, we're working on things. We're working on it. Bam. All right. See, just give me some time. We'll figure things out. All right. Shout out Brad. Appreciate it, Brad. He's probably not here, but shout out Brad. All right, guys. Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. If you guys watch F1, what an awesome F1 was pretty sweet this weekend. I mean, maybe depends on what you define sweet, but pretty cool to see McLaren with a pretty speedy car, man. That's pretty cool. Happy to see someone else up there, Norris. Feel good for that guy. A little bit of a delay, Snazzy, not as bad. Yeah, I'll try to work on. You basically have to count the frames between the audio and the movement of your mouth, like that delay, and then you have to times that, or you times that by the frames per second that the video is shooting in. So I got to work on it, but yeah. Nice video this week. Appreciate that, Larry. Hope you guys enjoyed that little Sunday watch list. I'll try to do a little bit more in the future. It just gets long, man. Those videos get long, right? It can't really be. It might have to be like an hour-long video. But yeah, I'll try to keep it to. An hour-long video is just too long. So I'll try to find a way to do as much as I can within 30 minutes. But all right. So it is Monday. It is Nvidia earnings week. And that is an interesting thing going on, no doubt. Also, some big economic data this week. We do have GDP, but I think Chris said it the best. Here's Chris's message in the Discord. This is funny. Here's Chris's message in the Discord today, or last night. This is the economic calendar for this week. Nvidia. It's all pointless. Nvidia earnings. I think he's right about that. So we do have some of that economic data. We got the GDP. We got the consumer confidence. We definitely have some things to be watching, but I do agree that Nvidia earnings is going to take dominance. I do believe that. So we'll see. We'll see. Definitely going to be watching the semiconductors and how they are working, how they are, sort of playing, how they're moving the first few days of the week. Going to watch it Monday, Tuesday, get an idea of how that semiconductor action is moving. Definitely sort of keep an eye on the SMH, which is the semiconductor ETF, which is still under that 250 level, still under that 50 SMA. That's been a big level for the SMH. I'll show you right here. That SMH has sort of been stuck under that 250, under that 50 SMA. You guys can see right here on the hourly chart. Still just sort of getting stuck under that. So you'd really like to see that SMH start to wake up, to think that the semis are going to get a move going. Yeah, that 5660 wall, man. Who the hell is building that wall? Who knows, chef? But yeah, there's definitely a wall at 5660 on the ES. You guys can see again this morning. Another little, just a little bit of drama at that 5660. So that's the big level. I think that's about it. Kava, what an insane move on Kava last week. This should be a watch this week. Kava, what a nutty move from 100 to 120, 125 in quick fashion. We were talking about that thing just getting over 100, and it's already at 125. So that's crazy. Definitely should be watching that Kava move. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of names out there to be watching, so we'll go over them today. Let's jump into it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd appreciate that. If you guys are new here, if you first time, appreciate it if you press the like button, subscribe to the channel. Channel's been growing nicely, so I appreciate you guys on that. I think some of those day in the life videos and some more of those, just vlog style, lifestyle type videos are, people like them. So I'm going to keep trying to do that. Obviously still mix in, the really good educational videos as well. A little healthy mix of both, I think, is a good thing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. Let's jump right into this. So first things first, economic calendar. Today, not much. Durable goods order. Durable goods, 8:30. We'll keep an eye on that. 24 minutes. We'll see if the market does anything, but I really don't anticipate much there. Tomorrow, Tuesday, nothing too crazy there in the pre-market. Really, that 10 o'clock consumer confidence is probably the big watch. So tomorrow might be one of those days, guys, where you just sit on your hands for 30 minutes, right? Let the market shake out. 30 minutes of just sort of, sideways action on the market and wait for that real move. That's always a good idea. That's probably tomorrow, right? That's probably very important tomorrow, 10 o'clock consumer confidence. So let's be aware of that. Thursday, GDP, unemployment claims. This is really your heavy hitter for the week, right, in terms of economic data. So keep an eye on that GDP number. That's Thursday pre-market. That'll be actually the pre-market after Nvidia earnings. So that's sort of interesting, right? That's sort of interesting. That is the pre-market after Nvidia earnings. So Nvidia earnings are Wednesday afternoon, and then you have this Thursday morning. So that's something to be interesting, something to watch there. Friday, PCE, that's a big one as well, so let's keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. All right. A little bit of consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock on Friday as well. Another thing I want to point out, guys, market is closed next Monday, so be aware of that. Market is closed next Monday. It is Labor Day, so just know that. It's going to be a short week next week. We're going to start it on Tuesday, and yeah, so be aware of that. Monday, I don't know if I'll be here this Tuesday. I probably will not, guys, just to be honest. So just giving you a heads up. This Friday, okay, for all you guys that are coming to the live stream early, you'll know my schedule. I'll obviously update you throughout the week, but unfortunately, this Friday, right here, and then Tuesday of next week, I will likely be out. I'm going to Las Vegas, Viva Las Vegas, for a bachelor party. So that's a non-negotiable. I have to go. This is my best friend's bachelor party. I'm the best man at the wedding, so this is a big one for me. So excited for that. But, yeah, so Friday, I'll be out. Obviously we planned this so that I didn't really have to miss too many days. Obviously, Monday's markets close Monday, which is great for me, right, because I don't have to worry about missing that day. But we're going to be flying a red eye back on Monday. So a red eye into Tuesday. I doubt that I'll be here on Tuesday. So just a heads up, guys, for you guys that are coming here on the live streams. That's a big one for me, and that's a non-negotiable. So I will not be here. So be aware of that. Okay, we'll keep you updated throughout the week. All right. With that said, let's go to the earnings calendar. Let's take a quick peek at that earnings calendar. Give you guys an update on what is reporting earnings this week, because there's a big one, obviously, and that is I just said Las Vegas. That is Nvidia. That is right here. You guys can see that right there. I'll make that nice and red. Nvidia earnings Wednesday afternoon. Be aware of that. That is big, 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 big. I mean, that is the biggest earnings of the week, of the year. I mean, not year, of the earnings season, of this earnings season. This is the big boy right here. Obviously, Nvidia is a driver of the market. It's a driver of the semis, and that is monstrous. So Nvidia earnings Wednesday. Also, CrowdStrike has been an interesting name. So let's watch that. Salesforce as well. So those are some big ones there on Wednesday. Before that, today, nothing crazy. Tomorrow, nothing crazy. Really, it starts Wednesday. Abercrombie & Fitch. This name has been wild lately. That'll be an interesting earnings to watch. Best Buy, Dollar General, nothing really there. Lululemon, interesting one as well. And Ulta, also two interesting names there. Right, Lulu and Ulta, two big retail names that have been sort of underperforming, but have sort of come back lately. So something to keep an eye on that. And then MRVL, another semiconductor stock on that Thursday after close, could be sort of a nice watch as well. So some decent ones, right? Some important ones right in there, I think, to be eyeing. But obviously the key is that Nvidia. So that's big. All right. I'm not going to say where I'm staying, actually, for my own safety. So, but no, I'm not staying at the win margin. Yeah, it's a different hotel. All right, yoga pants. Time to get started. Nasdaq futures. So, if you watched my video yesterday, you're probably in tune with some of these levels that I have on my charts already. But I do want to let's talk about them here. So, let's start on the 30-minute chart. Actually, here's the 30-minute chart on the Nasdaq futures, and let's get started. So, the big zone that I'm watching is, as of right now, between the 680 and the 750, 740 area. This area looks very interesting to me. This is some previous highs back here, and this is also that sort of general low that came in on Friday, which is right by the 50 SMA, right? You can see right here, that 50 SMA at 680, right? Right there, right? And that high right here at that 680 is definitely a major spot, right? We can clearly see this was some previous highs that held pretty well on that Friday move. The interesting thing to me, which I'd really like to make the zone. I really think the zone should look like this, to be quite honest. I'm just going to share with you really quick where I think you should have, sort of that mind. This is sort of the mindset that I have here. Really, this entire zone here, guys, is a area I would not short into. Pretty much this entire zone here is just an area that I would not be shorting into. We can clearly see on this 30-minute and even that hourly chart, we see the buying stepping up all within this zone, right? It hasn't really been an exact level. There's some really major wicks and sort of this just overall buying that's coming up in this zone. We see these wicks on Friday. We see those wicks on Thursday. We see these wicks here last Monday, right? So it's really this entire zone. I like to keep it a little bit more detail, a little bit more, not just a fat 200-point zone, because that's sort of difficult to trade with. But it's pretty clear that, this entire zone down here is getting sort of that, action getting bid up. But for now, I'm going to leave my level at that 680 because I think there will be a reaction if the market does break under the 50 SMA. All right, so if the Nasdaq does break back under this high and break back under this high and break back under that 50 SMA, then I think there could be some reaction and possibly that could be a sign of some weakness. So I'm going to leave my, the end of my green zone here at that 680. Just to be aware of if it breaks below that, I want to make sure I know, right? Under that 680 and that 50 SMA, I want to make sure I am very clear on the intraday, saying, knowing when I'm watching my charts, hey, 1 second, right? We just broke under 680. I need to make sure I pay attention to this because that is a break back under this previous high, and that could lead to some weakness on the market. Now, under that 680, you can see this 520 zone, pushing higher, pushing higher, pushing higher, pushing higher, pushing higher. So that is still definitely an area down there that I'm, cautious of on the shorts, right? I'm not going to start shorting into Thursday's lows down here. It just doesn't really line up well with me. I'm not going to start shorting into that Thursday low, right? That is a very clear pop, pop, and pop, right? I don't want to start shorting into that low. That could be another pop off that level. So really that 520 zone and then this 50 SMA are some levels that I'm watching. Where I think it starts to get, sort of weak and starts to really give you downside is under 19,400. And I'll show you why 19,400. That's where I think you can really start to see the slip is under this 19.4. And I'm going to show you why 19.4. I'm going to zoom out. I got to go to the hourly. And I'm going to show you what 19.4 is. 1 second. 19.4 is this previous high right here. See these previous highs right here? 19.4, 19.4, 19.4. If you break back under like this 19.4 here, this is where I think you get very aggressive to the downside. That is what happened right here, right, guys? Remember that Thursday drop that really broke down? That really started to come in after we broke under 19.4. So if we do see the market, right, come back down under 19.4, that is where I think you get really aggressive on the short side. That is right here. And what else would that be? That would be a gap fill, right? Because this is a pre-market gap up on the Nasdaq futures. So under 19.4, that is really my, hey, this market may start looking for that downside continuation. I would assume towards that 100, that 20, and maybe even that 19,000 level. So 19.4, big spot. Keep an eye on that. In the short term, right, we'll go ahead and look at the short term. You can see the Nasdaq is holding above this zone today, 680 to 745, 750. So that's a first watch, right? Look at how that held right there. First level to watch today to the upside is obviously that Friday high, 19,904. And then I'm watching this Wednesday high, 19,980. And then if we get above both of those, man, you're right back into that Thursday high, 20,050. So it's a range, right? It's nothing has shown direction yet, guys. This is a 30-minute range. It's very clear, right? If you really zoom out and just look at this at a bigger picture, I think it's really just this right here. It's just a total ranging market between some intraday levels, some short-term levels, but overall, this is your market right now. You need to understand that, right? You need to make sure you trade with the understanding that, hey, some of these, some of these extended moves, if we get extended moves to either direction, if it's still within this zone, it could just be sort of reversion to the mean trades, right? If you do get an extension to the downside, it could just revert to the mean. If you get an extension to the upside, revert to the mean, right? The mean sort of looks like it's right around here with a channel that's right around here, right? So pretty much all you've been doing all week is just sort of on any extended move, reverting to the mean, right? Extended move, reverting to the mean, just sort of staying within this channel. So it's a lot of sort of intraday trading on these short-term channel levels, which is sort of difficult, right? To really trust continuation. There really has not been major continuation for now almost 2 weeks, at least a week and a half, right? We have really not seen major continuation, multi-day continuation. So make sure you're aware of that. I would expect more of that before NVIDIA earnings, right? I would probably expect more of this lack of continuation, lack of big moves before NVIDIA earnings. That's how I would approach the market today, understanding that there's a big event coming, NVIDIA earnings, and we might just see that Nasdaq sort of maybe reject Friday's highs, hold above this 50 SMA, right? Do a little bit of this, a little of this, right? Come back this way, right? Do a little rejection again today off 19.9, maybe break down back into that 50, have a little demand bounce, right? A lot of that sort of just intraday scalping off some of these levels is sort of my anticipation today. And sometimes that's a little bit of a difficult trade. So if you've had some trouble sort of trading this zone, I would think more of the same, right? And I would probably wait for that NVIDIA earnings to really break out this market. This will get much cleaner in just a second when we talk about the ES. So I'm going to wait. I'll talk about that ES in just a second. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here, guys, is the QQQ 4-hour chart, because this is probably one of the cleanest charts. This and the SPY have some of the, two of the cleanest levels that I'm watching right now. And to me, it is all about, and this is sort of how I'm judging, the direction that I'm looking to trade. If the QQQ, and this is just how I do things, guys. You don't have to do this yourself, right? But if the QQQ is over 474, I am not looking to short the market. I'm not looking to intraday short the market. Maybe if I really like something extremely short term, I'll look for something. But in the bigger picture, right? In the bigger picture, I am not looking to short this market if the QQQ is over 474. That is just would be totally against all analysis that I do here on a daily basis, right? It would be totally against every practice that I've ever instilled in my trading. I would not want to short back into these lows, and the previous highs that caused the downside that we are holding above all of the last week and a half. I do not want to short back into that level, right? Shorting back into that level is against everything that I trade, right? Because what I look to do is to look to long or short above or below key levels, right? This was a beautiful short, right? See, why was that a beautiful short? Because we had a previous low. We had a previous low that we broke, we retested, and we rejected, right? That's perfect. That's exactly what should have happened there. Now, what's happening now is we had a previous high, right, that we broke, that we retested, and we are trading above that level. That is pretty much like longing. Shorting here is like longing into this previous low. That's the same thing. So this is a 4-hour chart, and you need to understand that it's a 4-hour chart, right? That doesn't mean that there's not a 2-minute scalp short today, right? This is what people don't understand. This is, people come back to Desi, the market went down today. How could you say not to short today? Yeah, of course there could be some 2-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, maybe 1-hour downside trades today. There's no doubt, right? There's no doubt. There could be some downside that comes in. But the bigger picture here, which I like to trade with, I like to trade with that 4-hour chart to understand the trend of the market. I just am not a big fan of trying to short aggressively back into this 474. I just don't like it, right? You have some very clear levels here from the past. You have a very clear high here that you have very clearly held above over the last week, week and a half. Look at this hourly chart, right? See this hourly chart? Look at every attempt lower into this 474. Every attempt lower into this 474 popped higher, popped higher, popped higher. Friday lows, popped higher, right? I don't want to start trying to short into this low. It just doesn't make sense. If we break under this low, that is without a doubt the spot to start aggressively shorting, right? If we get under 474, if we start rejecting that level, if we start rejecting the 50 SMA, and we start failing this Thursday low and this low from last Monday, that is no doubt a short entry, without a doubt, right? That is a then gap fill, right? Look at this. Under that 474, there is a gap down here that I would be looking to see if it fills. This is also a Thursday pre-market upside move. Look at this. This Thursday pre-market upside move. If I take off the after hours real quick, let me go ahead and take off those after hours. I think we'll be able to see it. Show extended hours, take it off. So you can see right here, right? It seems like it included, I guess some of that move started at 9:30, so it does include it in the early morning candle there. But I think it just gets weak, and this is really not that strong of a candle. So I would say this gap fill right here is definitely something that you'd look to fill if you start to break under that 474, right? But that's only if we break under that level, right? That's if we break under it, which we are not. So for now, I would stay very interested in whether this market level holds and if this really does create that next big long opportunity. That is really something I'm watching. But for now, it's a little bit questionable because of, obviously, the Nvidia earnings. So that's that larger term look. Now, if we go down to the shorter term, I'm going to delete this level for a second because I just don't quite like it. This is really what I'm looking at on the QQQ. Show proof of what, M24? Go to my last video. If you're here already asking, go to my day in the life video. You'll see proof. Okay? Get the hell out of here. All right. You guys can see right here, 483, 483, 483, 483. You guys can see right here. Very clear right there. That is a very clear high. So 483, right? Very clear high. And then you can see this low around 478.50. So this is sort of that zone that it looks like the QQQ is trading within. That really is the zone, right? You can see you have these lows from last Tuesday. You see these lows here from 478.50. You see these lows, sort of those general lows around that 478.50. That's something I would be watching, right? That's something I'd be watching. 478.50. That's that Tuesday low. So watch out for that. Now, if we break under that Tuesday low, watch that 476, right? Watch that 476. That is that sort of this low from Wednesday. And I want to show you where else on that hourly chart. That 476, guys, is right here, right? It's right here. Take a look at this 476 level. This 476 level is the major previous highs from that big August 1st breakdown, right? That is 476. That is the Friday hold level. That's very interesting, right? That Friday held that August 1st breakdown point. Now, if we break back under that, that's where things start to get a little bit slippery, right? Under that 476, that's something to be watching. However, you are still over that 474. This is where I'd really start to look for that downside action. Under 474 is really where I would start saying, all right, guys, it's time to start potentially looking for the flip here, the sort of flip up on the flip on the market. Under 474 would be my concern, okay? So that's really the spot. Keep that on your charts. You can see I have that bright red level there because that is definitely something I'm concerned of and watching. 474 on Qs. Keep that on your charts. Big time level. ES. ES is definitely a little bit stronger, I would say, than the Nasdaq, right? ES has been a very strong move. Some of those related sectors have been hot. Stocks or sectors like the XLP, this thing's been running. XLV has been really strong. The healthcare sector, the financials have been pretty much straight up, right? So there is a lot of surrounding sectors besides the tech market that is very strong, right? And that's really what's helping this S&P 500, outperform the Nasdaq, at least in the short term. So here on the ES, I wanted to share, I think I have some like bigger term. Yeah, I have these bigger, sort of larger term levels here. This is what I want to share with you on the ES, guys. This is that 4-hour look, right? And I think it's very important. Guys, it's very important in a market that starts to get sort of blurry, right? Myself, and I'm sure a lot of you, start to get a little bit confused and blurry as the market sort of trades sideways, right? You start to get, that big, those intraday sort of up and down around key levels, right? Nothing major is happening, but you keep flipping and flopping between these levels. You have to make sure you can zoom out and get a larger picture, right? What are the 4-hour levels? What are the daily chart levels? Let me get off this 5-minute chart. Let me get off this 15-minute chart. Let me get out to that 4-hour and that daily, and let me see what the picture is here. So that's why I've been doing this a lot lately, because it makes me much clearer. It gives me a much cleaner thought process. And look at how clean this is, right? This 5,600, 5,595, that is that previous August 1st breakdown point that we are maintaining over, right? We are holding above this area. So if we're above that, if we're above this Friday high or this rejection high, this August 1st high that caused that downside move, if we are above that level at 55.95, 5,600, then why are we aggressive on the short side into this, right? So let's be careful there, right? If we do break under this, then I think there's definitely some downside action to come in. All right, if we start to see, let's say we see 56.65 turn into a new high. Let's say we reject here again. Let's say we now turn this 5,600 into rejections. This would really be sort of that start of a curl, right, back down, right? And so if we do clear that 55.95, 5,600 level, and we fail back below this high, then there is plenty of time to react to that larger structured, downside move that can come in. That's right. That's definitely something to be watching. That's very, very clear there. Now, to the upside, we have definitely seen the 56.65 brick wall that has been keeping this market lower. That is those previous 4-hour highs over here. That is very clear as well. So when we look at it like that, right, it really cleans things up on a larger scale. Right, we can see that 55.95, we can see that 56.60, we can see just this general chop within this level, sort of those intraday levels sort of flipping and flopping, which makes it a little bit difficult to trade in here, right? Depends on what kind of trader you want to be. All right, so now if we go into the short-term levels, I will share with you how these short-term levels have been reacting, because it is pretty clear, but you can't really trust these short-term levels like you would trust a 4-hour level, right? You just can't. You have to understand that. So we can see right here, this 56.10 to 56.15 has been a low on Tuesday. It was a low on Wednesday, and again on Friday, it's a low. So we can see that those lows are coming in, right? Those lows are definitely coming in. 56.10 to 56.15, right here, and right here. 3 times we see those lows step up. That's an area that I would be watching. Above that, 56.30 looks like a little short-term level as well. Now, why 56.30? You guys can see right here, 56.30, 56.30, 30, I'm sorry, it's 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, right? We can see those short-term reactions there. But again, those are short-term reactions that can flip and flop, right, on the intraday basis. You have to really be watching those and how they're reacting. Next one, to me, looks to be 56.44, 56.44, 45, 44, 45, and right here in the pre-market, that 44.45 level. So I have some of these short-term levels, but they are much less, when you're trading in a channel like this, you really have to stay in tune with what they're doing there, right? You can't just instantly long that level, right? You got to say, okay, we're at 45. What are we doing? Are we rejecting it? And if we are, this could flip, right? You got to be watching those on an intraday basis. The major level that's just clear as can be is right here. 56.65, 56.65, 56.65. Bam, bam, and do we get another bam? That's the question today. 56.65. That's the big spot. SPY, let me start on the larger term, the daily levels, and let me share with you this 4-hour level on the SPY. This is, again, so clear and so obvious to what to be watching, how to monitor the larger picture here. This is a previous major low on the SPY that turned into a major high, right? This was the low that was holding the market up that turned into a major high. Very clear. You came back up into it and you got smacked, right? Right there again. 555. You had it's just, look how clean this is. Previous low, held above it, broke under it, smack down. Came back up into it, smack down, right? Exact level 555. Exact level there, and there. Now, it's not by some type of crazy thing, right? It's just technical levels that you can see now here on the 4-hour. Look at what the 555 level is doing, right? This is about as clear as it's ever going to get. This 555 previous smackdown, and previous hold level right here has turned into a support. And that level held through an emotional downside on Thursday of last week, right? The crazy sort of downside that came in on Thursday, that emotional downside where, we started seeing the flags. The end is near, right? The end is near. Stock news updates, get them out. FFIE is going to crash after end of day. Everyone short it, please. It's obvious downtrend. Great, man. Have fun. Do it yourself. So, 555, right? Maybe he's right. Who knows? Maybe he's right. Hey, what's the saying? A broken clock is wrong twice a day, or something like that. Maybe he's right. So 555, right? 555. How clear is that? Right? How clear is that? And even through that the end is near downside on Thursday, look at how that stepped up. And so that's pretty crazy, right? So when you look at this 4-hour chart, there is not a sign of bearish action. There's not a sign of bearish action here. This is a very clear pivot back above this rejection, right? And you're holding above it for now. If we get under that level, it is as clear as can be to start looking for downside, right? That is then an awesome short opportunity. Under 555, that's the attack, right? That's the attack. Under 555, you start to attack the short side. That's very clear. That is very, very clear. So for now, right, this 4-hour chart keeps me sort of keeps me along the larger picture of the market. And for me, if we're above 555 on the SPY, I think it's very sweaty to be shorting into that level. There could be those downside moves intraday. There's no doubt, right? I'm not saying that that's not possible. Please make sure you understand that. I'm not that dumb to say that there's not going to be downside moves intraday. There absolutely is. But that is without a doubt that 4-hour level that is just sort of showing you that larger picture. 558, that's very clear. 558, 558, 558, very clear there. Above that, 560, short-term level as well. 560 on Friday, 560 here, 560 there. Above that, 562. And right now, you're sitting at this 563.50 supply. You got to get above that today. Okay? Very clear. I think very obvious. Some very nice levels. You just got to follow them today, right? And I think the most important thing to be watching, the number one thing to be watching, without a doubt, is 56.65. You cannot long today if we're sitting right here. You just can't do it. Anyone that longed last week as the ES was near 56.65 got absolutely smacked, and I was part of that group on Thursday, right? I was part of that group on Thursday. So I am definitely not longing today if we're sitting right under the 60.65. That's for sure. Okay, that is without a doubt a very clear thing to be paying attention to. That is that Friday rejection point. That is that Thursday smackdown. You have no business shorting if we're sitting right up in this zone. If we get over this zone, that is definitely something to be looking at. Okay? All right. Let's press the like button, please. 2,400 people here, 2,500 people here, 800 likes. That is 1/3. IWM, big breakout, man. And what a build the IWM had here. What an awesome stair-stepping. This is what... So, guys, look. Everything that we just talked about, right? Everything that we just talked about is... This IWM showcases it. It almost shows you the future here. In my opinion, right? Everything we just talked about sort of is showcased here on the IWM. You see how the IWM just continued to hold this level, right? Even during some of this emotional downside, some of this downside, right? It just held above a key level. It held above 212. It held above 212. It held above the 20. And eventually, right, those structure holds lead to that breakout move. And this is pretty much what the IWM has already done. Right, the IWM has already done that breakout move. 212, it just would not break under it all week, 212, kept it higher, and bam, there it goes, right? Big breakout on Friday, big move to the upside. So that's big. That's a huge move. And we were talking about that 218. And man, that 218 intraday Friday, if you guys were part of the group, part of the Discord, I know some of you guys caught this. We were talking about that 218 level, and holy crap, was that a level on Friday. Look at this pullback long at 218 on IWM on Friday. That was sick. Sick. 220 rejections, pull back into that 218. What a hold, and what a continuation. Today, you're looking for IWM to hold over 220. You're even interested in pullbacks to 218, right? And the level that I would be looking for before it gets sort of tough again is right up here, right? Remember this 226, 227 daily supply? Be careful up in here, guys. That is that major level that caused the downside. Got to be careful up towards this 225, 227 zone, okay? Be careful up there. That's big stuff. All right? Mike Jones, Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, Chris Jones. Shout out Chris. What else? John Paul Jones. Well, we talked about the 40,740. We talked about the 41,100. And, man, are these levels just very clear. Look at that hold on Friday of that low. Look at the breakout that ensued. And now it's very easy what you look for. Now you're just looking for this, guys. You're looking for that Dow Jones, that Indiana Jones, to come back down to that 41.1, and you're looking for that thing to hold. If that starts to create a hold here, that is a perfect market structure move, right? Look at how clean that could be. If you hold above 41,100, that would be my next long to look for. Keep an eye on that spot. Open Door, yeah, what's up? What's Open Door been up to? That's a stock that I was sort of tipped off about a few months back. It's been all right. I mean, it went up, went back down. I mean, Open Door does well with if the interest rate environments decrease, if real estate gets hot again, in a low interest rate environment, that's when Open Door will do well. But, I mean, guys, JC, it's a $2 stock, man. Vaya con Dios. May the odds be forever in your favor. Best of luck. I don't know what that's going to do. But if you want to try to long Open Door at $2 and hope that it comes back, sure. I don't know. I guess your risk is limited. Can only go to 0, right? All right. That's just not my, it's not my, this right here, guys. This is not my arena, okay? This is not my arena. My arena is not unpredictable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just longing these small, shitty names that are doing obviously terrible, okay? It's not my arena. It's not where I live. So don't ask me about it. I have no idea. Best of luck. All right? Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into some stocks. Let's get into some stocks that you can find repeatable patterns on rather than, guessing if a $2 stock goes up, man. I don't know. But I think you can find repeatable patterns on stocks like Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, AMD, Microsoft, Google. Here we go. So, through all the downside that came in on Thursday, Tesla defends 210 like a boss, which I did not expect. I'll be honest. I'm going to delete these for a second and just show you this 210. I did not expect Tesla to hold this 210, and it did. We had this 210 level on our charts. We saw that long off that level last Friday of 2 weeks ago, and look at that level come in again, F210. That is a very interesting hold for me, okay? That's a very interesting hold for me on Tesla. If Tesla can really start to hold this 210 and stay within this zone and live above this previous structure, I really do believe that there is more upside here. Obviously, market dependent. But this 210, right? This 210 held very strong. And that was a must, right? Because if Tesla broke that 210, it was bloody, right? Under 210, I think it's bloody. 210, 210, 210. If you break under that 210, you probably go to at least the 200 SMA at 203 and maybe even back down to some of these lows in here. But for now, 210 is that line in the sand, and you saw it hold pretty damn well. So definitely watching that, okay? Definitely watching that. Now, the next level I'm watching today is 219. 219 has also been a very clear level on Tesla. Actually, it dates even back even further here. You can see 219 goes all the way back to here. And so I'm going to watch to see if 219 holds strong today, right? Can we see a 219 strong hold? Can we see a hold above the 50 SMA? If Tesla can hold back above this little Tuesday, Wednesday low here at 219, I think you could start to see, that next push at 219. So that is definitely something I'm watching. If you break under 219, then I'm going to be watching 216. 216 is also a very key level that held last week. I'm going to go down to the 15-minute chart. You're going to see this. Let me get a little bit more time here. 216 on Tesla. You can see right here. 216, 216, 216, 216. So today, I'm watching 219, 216, looking to see if those longs come in. If they do, I'll be watching for that upside. Obviously, the must-break level above 226. Okay, NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA, yeah, it's just, I don't expect much from it here before earnings, guys. I'll be quite honest. So NVIDIA, I think, starts to just do a lot of this, right? Little this, little that before earnings. I really am not expecting a lot from it before the earnings event. And you can see right now, it is definitely rejecting that 131 high. You can see right here, 131, 131. That high from Thursday is definitely causing some selling on NVIDIA. So a little bit cautious there on NVIDIA this week. I think the action might be pretty light. I think it might be a good time to look around, right? Look at other sectors. Are we dropping a little bit? I mean, just a little bit of a fade off 56.65. Yep. Nothing crazy yet. Just a little fade off that 65 level still on the ES. So NVIDIA, right? I just don't really think it's going to be a stock to trade too aggressively this week, guys. IV is going to be high. Option contracts are going to be sort of inflated, and that's sort of a recipe for some disaster. So 130, 131, definitely some heavy spots here, all right? Definitely some heavy spots. Be careful up into that 130. Be careful into that 131. Definitely some heavy rejections in the past. If you're going to long NVIDIA, I would look for some deeper pullbacks, 127, 125, right? Those are some deeper pullbacks that I'd look for. I would be very careful getting long in that 130 to 131 zone. SMCI. Watching this SMCI 600 level today, looking to see if this does hold on. If it doesn't, then this breaks down. But I'm definitely interested to see what happens at this 600 today. That's something I'll be monitoring there. Broadcom, another one that I'm sort of monitoring. Obviously, this is all dependent on NVIDIA earnings, but I'm very interested in how Broadcom is maintaining this 162 to 164.50 area. You can see right here, 162, 162, that 50 SMA, this previous high, these previous highs. We can see, right? Look at how this is holding in here. So holding, holding, holding. So definitely watching this, but again, this is another semiconductor that we may not see much before NVIDIA earnings. That's the unfortunate fact about semis here this week. AMD, it's really sloppy. I honestly don't even know if I want to go over AMD. Just really sloppy. I think the only thing that's sort of clean here is this 152 hold, right? Right here. This 152 hold looks pretty clear. If you can break under that, that might be where you can start to get some slip, right? Under 152 to around this 148. To the upside, I hate it. I really don't like it to the upside. I don't like it into this 50. I don't like it into the 200. I don't like it into the 100. I don't like it into 160. I don't like longs anywhere up here in AMD. This looks very heavy. So being careful in there. I would say keep an eye out on that 152. That would be something to watch there. Let's go to Apple real quick. Apple, same channel as always. I can go over this one very quickly. Nothing has changed. 228, 224, exact same thing that's been going on for 2 weeks now. Google, sort of a flag to me on Google, but there's a very clear supply level, 168. You got to get above it. 168 rejections Friday, 168 rejections again today. You got to get above 168. If you get above 168, I think you go back to 169.50, and maybe, just maybe, you're starting to see a little flag here. But you need to be over 168, and you have to hold 166.50 and that daily 20 SMA. Amazon, pretty clear levels on Amazon. 176 must hold level. You can see right here, 176, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here today. If you break under 176, you're coming back down to that 174 and that daily 20 SMA. To the upside, very clear supply, 179, 179, 179, 179, 179, 179. Very clear. 179 highs, 176 lows. You've been trading within a $3 range. Look to see if you can break outside of it, right, to either side, or if you just stay within it. Okay. Let's go to Kava real quick. I wanted to point out some Kava levels to watch today because I'll definitely be watching this. If the semis are sort of shitty and the small caps are sort of hot, I want to watch Kava today, right? Because maybe Kava just has some, movement of its own, and I can avoid some of that market chop because of Nvidia. So I'm going to watch this 120. I'm going to watch this 117.20. I'm going to watch pullbacks to these levels today to see if there's long opportunities. The very interesting pullback would be 112, right? If we can get back to this 112 at some point, this would be a very interesting pullback. Highs right now, 126. Okay. Let's go to Meta real quick because Meta actually looks like one of the weaker names today. I would be watching 523 on Meta right here. 523 on Meta, very clear low. If Meta breaks that 523, there doesn't seem to be much support below. I would be watching what happens at Meta 523 today. That's sort of interesting. What else? Netflix, that's also an interesting one. Netflix has really been a hot stock, holding this 680, holding now above the 685. This looks like an interesting little hold here, possibly building a flag, right? Possibly a little pullback flag here on Netflix. If Netflix heats up again over this 685 and this 680 level, this could really try to push towards that all-time high again. I would be watching Netflix. This is a nice little consolidation to the downside, right? This is necessary. You need these little cool-off periods. But I would make sure you're watching to see what this next move formulates. 680, 685, this area hold on Friday, very interesting. I would be watching what happens off this 685. Microsoft's all about 417. It's back under it. That means I don't like it. It's got to hold above 417. Microsoft under 417 is weak. So I don't like it. But what would I watch? I would watch that 20 SMA below, right? That's 414. Coinbase. Yeah, Coinbase, same levels, guys. We have not changed anything on Coinbase, right? It's the same exact thing. It's the exact same 208 level. You can see if it tries to hold today. You want to see a hold above that previous high. Very clear, right? You do not want to see Coinbase fail back below this 208 high. 208, you need to see it hold above if you want to see upside continuation on that. All right, that's all I got. Let's take a quick peek at that Nasdaq. Nasdaq sort of just doing nothing, to be quite honest, guys. You're still sitting above that 19,743 Tuesday's lows. You're still above that 50 SMA. There really ain't much going on here. ES just sort of fading off that 60-65, just staying generally weak, but really no follow through to the downside. Just sort of staying heavy as it pushes into this supply. Very, very clear there. QQQ, I would be watching. The first level I'd be watching today is this 478.50. Look at the holds that came in here on Friday. That's Tuesday's lows. All right? That's all I got. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every day starting at 8 a.m. If you want to trade live with me, down in the description below. If you want to get some merch, down in the description below. If you want to represent the Options Insider brand, some cool t-shirts, some trading shirts. And that's about it, guys. Press that like button, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.